everyone, it's svgcoop.com with another training video for you. We have a member in our group who was trying to layer some vinyl. She wanted to make an Elsa. I made this one already. Take one of the video. For some reason my video camera decided to cut out, so I'm doing it again. But this is basically what our project is going to be. And so you can see I have all of the pieces weeded already, and I had already provided a video on, weeding some difficult images. So if you are not sure how to do that, there's a video on doing that. The one thing I wanted to show you is when you get files from me, if they're complicated or they have small pieces, like see this piece right here, what I do is I group the image, that layer together, so that when you open it in your cutting machine, it will all stay together. So this little piece won't move somewhere else, so that it cuts more efficiently. Because I'm not trying to cut efficiently, I'm trying to keep it in place so that specifically when I'm using vinyl, I can lay it down and all the pieces are going to go exactly where they're supposed to. Okay, so I have my black vinyl background here, and I'm using my transfer tape, and I'm just going to, let me just make sure I have enough big enough piece here. I'm just going to lay the transfer tape right on top of the yellow. I'm just going to move my black out of the way a little bit and use my scraper. I'm missing that little corner there, but that's okay. So I'm gonna always start with either the biggest piece or the piece that starts around the outline, because that's how it's easiest to lay these things out. So I'm just going to grab my yellow because her hair is the largest piece and it covers a lot of the outline, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So I'm just going to turn her sideways for a second, and I'm going to use my fingers underneath to hold the black down and help me to steady exactly where and how I'm going to line up this image. And vinyl is pretty forgiving, so you can basically just kind of, play with it a little and get it right where you want it. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to lay down her hair and give it a little rub. I'm not going to rub too hard because I don't want to lift the black up. So when I'm peeling it away, I'm just going to be careful to hold down the black layer as much as I can. You see it comes off pretty easily, but without lifting up the black. But I just want to be able to have that. And if it starts to get, like here, it got a little lumpy, so I'm just going to smooth that out a little and get the air bubble out. Okay, so you see it just lays perfectly and it's great. So now what I'm going to do is the next piece, I think I'm going to do her face. Now if you look at here, if the pieces are a little bit bigger, like for her hand, I did separate it out so it's not necessarily going to cut, right where the hand should be because it's big enough. But I did keep, the sides of her face and the piece of her shoulder together so that when you go to lay that down, it will lay perfectly. So I'm just going to do the same thing here, and going to just scrape that off there and pull off her face. Okay, and again I'm going to use my fingers underneath to just keep my background and help me to really just see exactly where I want to line this up. And you'll see that it's just going to lay beautifully right where you need it to go. And again, I'm just going to peel it off. Now see how it's starting to lift, so I'm just going to hold it down and peel that off carefully and start pulling from the other way, so I'm not necessarily pulling from the edge. Okay? Alright, so she's already starting to look beautiful. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is, now I have this blue piece, and the blue is part of her dress, but this little part over here, these are her eyes. So I'm just going to only grab the blue piece of her dress, and there's a cutout for her hair, so that's going to help me to line it up nicely. So I'm just going to get in here and make that good. Okay. Then again, I'm just going to peel it off. Okay. And the next piece I have is, this is like the part of her sleeve, and the other part of her other sleeve. So again, it might seem like you're wasting vinyl because this piece is getting pulled out, but this is laid out perfectly. So when I put it on the transfer tape and I lay it down, I don't have to worry about where exactly does this go or this go. Everything is all ready to go. So I'm just gonna lay down my transfer tape and I'm gonna give it a good swipe here and then pull it off. Okay. And again, I'm just going to move the image. You can move the image around, keep moving it around so that it's the best way for you to see how to line it up. And I know that when oops, now see, it's not exactly where I want, so I can pull it up. Once it's down, you're not stuck with it, so you can move it a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to I want to just make sure her sleeve is right, and okay. That looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm just going to pull this off like I did the other. Now see how that lifted up? You can just give it a good scratch and it'll stay. Okay, I'm just going to pull that away. Okay. Now, I think the next thing I'm going to do is the little flowers for her hair. And again, this piece, I kept everything grouped together so that when it cuts exactly where it's going to line up in her hair. So I'm going to do this, do a quick little scrape. And I'm going to come in here and just line it up the best I can. Okay. Give it a little rub and pull it off. And she's starting to look pretty good. All right, now what I'm going to do is, this has 3 separate pieces, so it's a good idea to know what your pieces look like. So this piece over here is one, and then this piece is another, and then these are her eyes. So I'm going to take her eyes next. And you can do it in whatever order you kind of want to, but you want to make sure that when you're doing it, you have a nice outline so that you know exactly where you're putting your piece, so that it lays in the right place and everything fits properly. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'll pull those off. And she has blue eyes, and here are the blue eyes that were attached to the dress. It was the same color, so that's why it cut on the same piece. And it makes it so easy to just lay this down. It's so fast. Vinyl is like so much fun. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. Definitely do not be afraid of it, because it really is a fun thing to use. Okay, so I have her mouth, her lips here, and I'm just going to grab that and layer that on there. Okay, and this is her little bit of makeup. I'm just going to grab that. Now, if for some reason your piece moves because it was, like this one is so tiny, if for some reason it moved, it's okay, because you can just lay it down one piece at a time. If you need to. So not a big deal. You just need to get it in there. See, I can do this piece and lift it and then still do the other piece right there. So it's okay. You know, you have a little bit of flexibility here. All right, let's get her hand on. I'm just going to scrape the hand. And I'm just going to lay that down like that. Okay, do you see how fast this process is? I mean, it's so quick. Once you have the pieces cut and everything's weeded, especially if all of the pieces are right exactly where they need to be, it's a very, very fast process to get this on here. Okay, so now I just want to make sure that when I'm grabbing this piece, that I don't grab the pieces from the other side. So if you can take a look at that closely. See, I didn't grab these couple of pieces. Okay. I'm just going to give it a little scrape, make sure I get everything because they're little and I don't want to lose the pieces. Okay, now I know that this goes on her sleeve, so I'm just going to line that up. And the beautiful thing is everything on top is going to line up too. So I can just do this and get it all to lay down just where it needs to go. It's so much nicer than sometimes when you're doing this in paper, because when you take all these little pieces off in paper, I mean, it's tough. First of all, the pieces can go flying as you're trying to get it off of your mat. That's why if there's like intricate pieces like this, I always use vinyl. It's just so much easier. Okay, so this is my last piece. I'm just gonna put that right about there. And you can see everything just lines up beautifully. Peel that off. And she's done. She's ready to go, ready to be put onto a boot or whatever it is that you want to put her on. Now, what you would do when you're ready to transfer her to whatever it is you're going to transfer her to, you would take a bigger piece of transfer tape, you know, big enough to cover the whole thing, and it'll be like this project that I showed earlier about layering vinyl. This is my Captain America, which I did not put on my husband's car yet. But you can see I have the transfer tape covering the whole image, and when I pull it away, it pulls the whole thing. So you would do the same thing with Elsa here. You would put a nice big piece on, and then you would just get it going. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back with another video before you know it.